Species don't define your character any longer, neither the stats or classes that they can access, like in old school D&D. But they are still so useful. The ability to fly, to disappear through darkness, to be able to cast magic, or revive yourself with one hit point. But not all species have evolved equally, and some species are still worse than others. That's why today we're going to rank them and decide which is the best species in D&D 2024. Let's roll initiative. Aasimar. Aasimars are the good boy scout or the educating class. Aasimars got spark of divine light in their souls that they can use to heal their allies with healing hand, resist necrotic or radiant energies, see 60 feet in the dark and light the way for allies. At level 3 and beyond, you can transform with a bonus action, choosing one between 3 transformations, aiming more damage in your hits with Celestial Revelation, and 3 different possibilities. Inner Radiance gives you the chance to make radiant damage to everyone around you, go edgy with Necrotic Shroud, frightening the enemies around you with the power of your edge, or gain flying speed. Flying is one of the coolest things that a character could do, because it opens a whole new world of movement that often enemies cannot reach. Other flying races like Arakokra or Owlin only tend to get fly, because that's how strong it is. With the big variety of powers they have, combined with the power of flying for 1 minute per day, changing a whole counter, that puts them in S tier. Remember, if you want to be as strong as the Aasimar, by the holy light of Lathander, please like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Now let's continue. Dragonborn. Dragonborn is the perfect species for those who want to roleplay as a dragon, but they don't got a DM child enough to let them. They gain a breath weapon to attack their enemies in a 50-foot cone on a 30-feet line, and the damage type of the breath weapon and the resistance that they will get will depend on their ancestry type. It can also replace a normal attack, so it's great for martial characters. You also get 60 feet of dark vision and flight. In this case you gain flight at level 5 and not level 3, but it's 10 minutes instead of 1. Honestly, in combat it will be the same for only one encounter, but 10 minutes instead of 1 is a lot more useful for outside of combat situation, like flying away or being able to infiltrate a high tower. I will say that Dragonborns don't reach the overall Jack of all trades utility of the Aasimar, and they gain their flying speed a little bit too late, but it's still one of the best species in the game, reaching A tier by just how good the breath weapon and the flying movement are. Dwarf. Dwarf players, you're the best. Never a Dwarf player was ever toxic in one of my tables, and that, curiously enough, has been an important part of the species too, as they have resistance to poison damage, an advantage in saving throws to end or neutralize the poison condition. Outside of this resistance, they also get more hit points than normal with Dwarven toughness, and 120 feet of dark vision. You also get 60 feet of tremor sense for 10 minutes. In my last species video, I already explained why I love dwarves so much. They can be frontliners, like Gimli, or also very tough spellcasters that are in the back, but are not going to die by his knees. You can go wrong with a dwarf. That's why they also will go to A tier, but just behind Dragonborn. Flight is still too OP. Elves. Elves have separated themselves in 3 subspecies, making Darwin proud, as every environment they are, well, they tend to adapt to it. All of them gain an extra skill between perception, survival, and insight.
Legolas, what do your elf eyes see?
60 feet of dark vision, advantage to the charm condition, and they can't sleep or can't be put to sleep through magical means. Basically, they enter into a trance, needing only 4 hours of sleep instead of 8 hours. Sadly, the last 2 features, the sleep and the charm, are a little bit more situational than normal. So, what will make or break the species are the subspecies. Drow. Finally, Drow don't have solid sensitivity anymore. Now you can play a Drow without being nerfed to the ground by the power of the sun. Your dark vision becomes 120 feet, so it's even better. And you also gain the Dancing Lights cantrip. Level 3 you get Fairy Fire, and at level 5 you get Darkness. Don't get me wrong, everything is fine, but it's only usable in certain situations where you really want to use all of this. And if you're a caster, because for example Fairy Fire has a saving throw, so you're only going to use it if you're a wizard, a sorcerer, a warlock. Nonetheless, Free Darkness combos great in this case with Warlock and Devil's Side. It's a Simple and easy combo, the one where you put darkness around you, so you can shoot everyone with Eldritch Blast, and they will have disadvantage against you. Or you can put the darkness in your enemies and attack them with advantage. The perfect attack and defense combo. Useful sometimes is the exact definition of a B-tier species. High Elf. High Elves were a solid species previously, and they still are. These magically attuned elves gain any cantrip that they want from the wizard spell list, and they can change it in a long rest. They also get Detect Magic and the amazing Misty Step. Curiously, the best thing that they get is the Wither cantrip, because it offers them so much adaptability. They can go for a Booming Blade Rogue, or they can add a Charisma Firebolt to a Paladin, so the Paladin also got some sort of range attack. You can literally make builds around this cantrip. Counting the awesome spells, this is an A-tier species. Wood Elf. I've already talked about Wood Elves before and how easily they can break the game. They gain 5 more feet of movement and the Druidcraft cantrip. Later, they will gain Long Strider. In general, all of their features make them a swift species, but nothing crazy, right? Wrong! Because at level 5 they get Pass Without Trace. Pass Without Trace is one of the best spells in the game, because if you're able to surprise your enemies, they will have disadvantage. So probably all of you will be better in initiative, and will be able to finish a few of them before they can act, getting more turns for the party. But hey, you can also use stealth and clever tactics with the spell to be able to run away from combat, minimize encounters in the campaign, and break some narrative parts. Again, with a Wood Elf, any class can have this spell, not only rangers and druids. And this busted spell is useful for any party. That's why Wood Elf go to S tier. Gnome. The funny little guys of D&D are back in this new player's handbook, with more funniness, more silliness, and advantage on Wisdom, Intelligence and Charisma checks. Basically, they got advantage on half of the saving throws in the game. Before it was all the magical effects, but now it's everything, making them any spellcaster worst nightmare, because they will be able to probably save against all of the effects. Well, maybe not Fireball, but besides that, it's one of the best features in the game, but they don't get much health. Don't get me wrong, Dark Vision is always amazing, and they get a few minor cantrips and spells with Forest and Rogue Gnome, but nothing too crazy. That's why they don't pass from A tier. Goliath. Goliath have been added as one of the main species, probably by how popular characters like Rock are. And let's be honest, because their design is so freaking cool. Beings that have giant blood in their veins, they gain an extra feature depending on their giant lineage. It's so easy and fun to adapt these features to your build. Free Misty Step, free fire damage, free reaction damage. Hell, even the possibility of making an enemy prone just by one hit. That's strong. It's a great feature for the species and that can be customized to any build, but that's it with the cool things they get. You can also turn large at level 5 and beyond, gaining more movement and also advantage on strength checks. They also get advantage against the grapple condition thanks to the amazing giant ancestry that they have. They're able to reach B tier. A solid species nonetheless. Halfling. Hobbits! Shit. Now they're going to sue me. Halflings! Honestly, all of the features that they get make them amazing rogues. Having advantage in the fighting condition is okay. Being able to move through enemy space is also great if you got good mobility. And the ability to sneak behind creatures, it's handy. Halfling lag tends to feel awkward because it punishes a 2 and a 3 a lot more than a 1. And it's just a 5% more chance to succeed at anything. And that's the problem with Halflings. It is good for rogues. It doesn't add anything to any other class really. It's a shame they don't go out of usual theme. They're going to C tier. Human. Human is the jack of all trades, boring in all of them. In heroic inspiration every long race, it's great, but curiously it turns useless if your party has an entertainer. An extra skill is also cool, but the big thing that they got is versatile. So they get one more origin feat. Before it was any sort of feat, which make them crazy strong, but an origin feat it's still amazing. The majority of the origin feats are still leagues above stronger than any of the species features, except flight, but still something great, because you can build and customize your feats in an amazing ways. It's like Lucky or Alert are a strong addition, but you can also create builds that you wouldn't be able to make in any other way, like a rogue that has +2 in dexterity, but also has access to the healer feat. At level 3, you make him a thief rogue, and he will be able to use any sort of medical kit and heal his allies with a bonus action, making this sort of non-magical healer that could be very fun. And that's why humans go to S tier. They're great for any build, even without dark vision. Orc for the horde! Oh, sorry, wrong game. They gain 120 feet of dark vision, and with Adrenaline Rush they can use their bonus action to dash and gain some temporary hit points, which is amazing for the extra mobility for any sort of melee frontliner or squishy wizard once you run away. Also, they got Relentless Endurance, basically Death Ward, for free. A level 4 spell, always cast on them once per day. Basically, whenever they drop to 0 hit points, they go to 1 instead. Relentless Endurance is great, but it doesn't reach the same power level as having more hit points, for example. Because even if you go to 1 hit point, well, they can still probably give you a second attack with multi-attack. So it gets worse and worse and worse as you continue to level up. It's a great species, but doesn't reach the absurd levels or the A and S tier species, sadly. B tier. Tiefling. Tieflings are literally the coolest race in the game. You come literally from hell, or at least your great-grandparent was a devil. Being a Tiefling should feel powerful, as you are one of the more excluded species in roleplay and lore. But no, it feels weaker than all of the other species in general. This is to talk about why they're weak when we talk about the subspecies, but you need to know that all of the subspecies also get free thaumaturgy and 60 feet of dark vision. Abyssal Tiefling. Honestly, the worst species in the game right now. The resistance to poison is great, but not as good as necrotic or fire. The poison spray cantrip, it's bad because every enemy resists poison, or almost a lot of them. It's the same with Hold Person, because the majority of enemies that you're going to fight at level 5 and beyond are monsters. I don't see many players using this lineage in their campaigns because it's basically useless. It goes to the bottom of D tier. Chthonic Tieglig. Tieflings from Kassieri and Gehenna bring their necrotic resistance, which is great for undead-centric campaigns. False Life is also a very handy level 1 spell for generally low-level characters, but what holds this species in C tier, it's the second level spell that they get, Ray of Enfeeblement, because it's a Constitution saving throw. As I always say, Constitution is the best stat for monsters, very mediocre in general. So, to C tier it goes. Infernal Tiefling, the best of the Tiefling. Fire resistance, it's amazing, and Hellish Rebuke, it's literally free damage. The Darkness spell that they get at second level also combos great with the Warlock, a class that probably a lot of Tieflings take. The base features are still weak, but Firebolt as a cantrip, the fire resistant, and the amazing spells bring this Tiefling to B tier, the lower end of B tier, but still looks better than his Tiefling friends. And this is the final ranking. Again, a good species can complement that build, but it's harder to make or break your character based on the species, like with previous editions. The most important thing is that you play your favorite species, or the one that you feel will make sense for your concept. You're going to pass a lot of time with your character, so you better like it and don't have any regrets. I'll see you on the next adventure.